Hello everybody and welcome back to 428 Shibuya Scramble. In the last part, we started the 12 o'clock block and actually got kinda somewhere in each of them? Kind of? We got to a keep out over here, so we need to find somewhere to jump. We haven't started Osawa's or Achi's yet, but we're making substantial progress in Minorikawa and Kano's stories, and I am going to tackle Minorikawa once again, because I have unlocked a new path for him. Time passed. Eventually the pace of his writing slowed a bit. Minorikawa glanced at his watch. It was later than he thought. Soon he had to head over to get an interview from the diet drink people. He reached into his bag for the project proposal to double-check the demo location. Huh? The proposal? It's gone. Crap, where the heck did it go? He checked all around the table, but he didn't see it anywhere. Maybe he'd left it at the other cafe? The non-smoking place? Well, he didn't have time to go check for it now. His phone rang. What now? Minorikawa snapped as he answered it. A tiny squeak came from the receiver. It was followed by the sound of sniffling sobs. I'm sorry, I just... Jackie? Was she done with her interviews, maybe? It's no use. People won't stop to talk no matter how hard I try. Her voice broke up into further sobs. Look, I've got my own problems to deal with. You're just gonna have to find a way to make it manage. But I can't. Sorry, I'm hanging up now. And so he did. He had to hurry. Had to get to the demo venue. But he'd lost the map and forgotten the location. Think, man, he told himself. Where would they hold an event like this? Probably someplace big, right? And there ought to be a guide or someone out front, too. With these assumptions in mind, Minorikawa broke into a run, searching ahead as he went. He stopped when he caught sight of a particularly multi-tenant office building. A whole stream of women were filing inside. All of them looked a little heavy, too. Pay dirt! This has to be the health food company sales demo. He hurried into the building. The women were queued up down the hallway. This was definitely the place, then. More confident by the moment, Minorikawa made his way up the stairs. Finally, he reached the front of the line. There was a notice posted outside the doorway ahead. Minorikawa read it out loud. Auditions for the starring role in Sun TV's Sumo Queen 2. A suspense drama about a string of murders that crop up while a group of female sumo wrestlers tour the country. The Magashira Komusubi, Sekiwake, and Ozeki, the 5th through 2nd place wrestlers from both East and West, are all killed in sequence, leaving only the top 2 ranked Yokozuna. With the real killer still unknown, things come to a heated climax in the ring during the final match, when the loser tearfully confesses to her crimes. It concludes with the victorious wrestler, who'd always been playing the part of detective, sorrowfully looking the culprit in the eye, and stating, it's off to the big... Oh, fuck this game. It was a sequel series to a recent TV drama featuring full-figured actresses. That's it! Minorikawa exclaimed, a new project proposal springing fully formed into his mind. He felt as if he'd struck by a bolt of divine inspiration. Big bodies, bigger names! A new arena opens for an aspiring, plus-sized actress. Never mind the diet drink demo, this was going to be Minorikawa's big story. Minorikawa managed to meet the deadline. The show, however, wound up being a massive flop. Sales for the issue of 4-star general gossip were likewise lackluster, with an unprecedented number of copies going unsold. Damn it! Mr. Toriyama's debts continued to spiral out of control, and before long, Heaven Publishing was no more. Sumo show does massive belly flop. Minorikawa wound up going to the wrong venue entirely. His main problem was that he didn't have good detailed directions to the Burning Hammer demo. Tama can do something at 12:15 that causes Chiri to head to the cafe, and Chiri can help Minorikawa get to where he needs to go. Okay, so I need to split up. Okay. Ah, damn it. We should split up. There we go. There we go. Oh shit, it brought me back like all the way from this point. No. Okay. Soon regain focus. What's that? Strange beeping sound broke Minorikawa out of his riding reverie. Upon looking up in confusion, he found his attention drawn to a young woman on another table. And then one of these, and one of these. Oh, and this, and this, and this, and this, and that too! She finished with a broad grin. Just let me repeat your order back to you. 1 Japanese-style beef patty, 1 spicy fish roast spaghetti, 1 chicken casserole, 1 French onion soup, 1 fruit parfait, 1 chocolate parfait, and 1 deluxe chocolate parfait. Will that be all? The waitress anxiously waited confirmation. Ryoko Kakinuma, a second-year student at Midoriyama Academy's law school. She was hassled by a pair of hustlers on her way to work and showed up 5 minutes late for her shift. The manager told her that those 5 minutes were coming out of her pay, so she's a bit irritated right now. Oh, she's her. Okay. You've got the large caramel shake. The customer was a full-figured young woman and sconed at a nearby table. Oh, my apologies. The waitress quickly jotted down the addition to her order. That'll do for now, the young woman said. For now? Yikes. She's actually planning on ordering more after that? Marveling at this display of appetite, Minorikawa went back to typing. Now what? Need focus. Unless somehow going to that sound now gets me actually some progress. Nah. The plump young woman set about devouring all the food she'd ordered despite the strange look she was getting. Now that was an appetite to be reckoned with. It took her under 3 minutes to polish off the lot. Then, looking not the least bit sated, she picked the menu right back up. Was she seriously going to order more? Minorikawa was starting to take an interest in this young lady. There might be a story here. He conjured up a series of headlines in his head. A woman inhales 30,000 calories in 3 minutes. This is the equivalent of 100 pieces of shortcake, 300 glasses of milk, or enough steak and rice to feed about 30 people. No, he did something with more punch. Food for thought, an expose on obesity. No, that was no good. He wasn't writing for a fashion mag here. A gourmet day in Shibuya. That was it! He'd be able to whip something up if he went with that foodie angle. Norikawa got up from his seat. That's pretty impressive, he said to the hungry diner. Do you always eat that much? The young lady glared back at him. Not always, she said. Suddenly, tension filled the air. Oops, was that way too blunt of me? I mean, she is a young lady after all. Maybe I should change up my approach. Who the heck are you, anyway? The woman asked. I'm a freelance writer. I was hoping I could do an interview with you real quick. You want to interview me? Suspicion was plain on her face. I do. I mean, girls all over the world worry about their diets, right? I hear that, yeah. So why would you be willing to share your secret or your technique or whatever on how to eat without getting fat? What, me? Sure, I mean, look at the figure you've maintained despite eating all this food. The young woman's expression brightened up. Oh, you noticed. There's actually a lot that goes into all this. Yeah? The basic thing, though, is to eat 10 meals a day. Norikawa struggled to keep his jaw from dropping. 10 meals a day? She flashed him a chubby-cheeked grin. You don't know how diets work, do ya? She chuckled. Eating only 1 or 2 meals a day, that's what'll make you fat. You gotta space your food out into smaller portions throughout the day. That's the fundamentals of dieting right there. Right, but what happened to the smaller portions part? Minorikawa had to bite his tongue. Ah, I see, he said. Any other pro-dieting tips you could share? Well, for the basics, I'd say always drink protein. Always drink protein instead of tea, yeah. Drink protein all day? Seriously? Once again, it took all of Minorikawa's willpower to keep his thoughts to himself. Let's see, what else? Oh, there's that stuff called Burning Hammer, too, but she trailed off a little wins. Wait, Minorikawa perked up. Did you say Burning Hammer? Oh, you know it? I've heard of it anyway, Minorikawa replied. He decided it would be better keeping his plans to head to the sales demo secret. Here, a sales demo later on, if you're interested, the woman said as if she were reading his thoughts. Though, full disclosure, I am working for them right now. She handed Minorikawa an advertising pamphlet. There was a more detailed map for the venue included. What a stroke of luck! Now he didn't need to rely on the crummy map of the project proposal anymore. He'd have no trouble finding the venue with buildings, various floors all broken down for him. And actually, I gotta get back to work, the woman said. Sure, thank you so much for your time. I'm gonna hang back and finish up my copy here. The woman left the cafe, and Minorikawa went back to his laptop. What a fucking stroke of luck. I cannot believe this bullshit. He'd gotten some info on the Burning Hammer sales demo, but he'd also lost some more time. The surveillance camera piece still wasn't finished. It was going to be a near thing to get it done before the sales demo started. Yet instead of returning to his writing, he got out his cell phone. What if Toyama had gotten another of his crazy ideas? If he tried to hang himself again? The thought had Minorikawa too worried to work on his copy. The phone rang several times before someone picked up. Mr. Toyama, where are you right now? Minorikawa asked. Right now? I'm on the run, somewhere near Shoto. An upscale residential district. Despite being smack dab in the middle of the city, it's a quiet neighborhood, rife with greenery. The residence of the former governor of Tokyo is here, built on a massive 2,200 square meter plot of land. There's a shitty hotel district a short walk to the south, making for quite the juxtaposition. Toyama was speaking in an oddly hushed tone. Shoto? After you left the office, some guys came by to collect on my debts, so I made a run for it. Okay, so he wasn't dead, but the situation was still pretty bad. Look, we'll get you through this somehow, Minorikawa said, hoping it was true. Just keep your head down and stay out of trouble. Just keep your head down and stay out of trouble. Stay where you are now. Stay where I am? But what am I supposed to do? Toyama's voice dropped in and out. It sounded like he was moving quickly. Find some place to hide and just lay low for a while, Minorikawa told him. All right, Toyama said weakly. He hung up. Minorikawa let out a deep sigh, then turned back to his laptop. Keep out! Fuck. Alright. Well, now that I've reached a stagnation point with Minorikawa, I will head back to Kano. Termination. This time, without sending him off to the fucking farm. Thinking back, a bunch of strangers. I was now certain. Okay, here we go. Shoot. It's bleeding pretty bad, he heard someone say behind him. He turned and saw two young men carrying another along. There was a towel wrapped tightly around the third's head. Hey, what happened? Kano asked. Shut your mouth! Kano blanched. Get in the attitude, he's trying to help, another voice cut in. It was Sasayama. Had he finished dealing with the girl by the station then? What happened to your friend? Out of my way, man. I ain't afraid to kick your ass. Look, cut the crap. Let me take a quick look. Sasayama unwrapped the towel from around the young man's head. Oh, that's nasty. The young man was a little more than a kid. His head was soaked red with blood. He appeared to be unconscious. They were in the middle of a job, but they couldn't just leave him like this. They should probably take him to a hospital. Kano offered to help carry the bloody young man, but Sasayama stepped in front of him. He quickly flashed the two youths his badge. Ah, crap. You a cop? Sasayama nodded. Who you kids with? The BAMFs? Sasayama's number 2 gang. Its leader, Zoe Ikari, has gathered up some big mean dudes in an attempt to make Shibuya his turf. The gang's leadership is inferior to that of the SOS, but on an individual level, its members tend to be stronger in a fight. Word is that the rise of the BAMFs is one of the reasons SOS has been growing more combative recently. SOS? SOS, admitted one of the young men after some hesitation. Who attacked you? Yo, it ain't like that. What was it like then? Infighting? The young man was silent. Sasayama must have been right on the mark. In the course of his police work, Kano picked up on a fair amount of street gossip from the young people in Shibuya. Lately, the scuttlebutt about the legendary SOS gang was that they were dealing with some internal strife. Look, don't worry about it. I get it. There's a hospital just down that way. Hurry up and get him there. The young man batted off Sasayama's offered hand, then quickly hauled his friend away. Sounds like SOS is on the verge of breaking up with all this infighting, huh? Kano asked. He kept his eyes on the young men as they headed off. Yeah, seems like it. It's pretty rough. You know what, with all the original leader leaving and all. The detectives in juvenile affairs were well acquainted with the SOS's original leader. That would be Achi. Initially, SOS was nothing more than a small group of like-minded young people who hung out together. But as its membership grew, the general public began referring to the group as a gang. Word has it that back when Achi was in charge, gang members never started any conflicts themselves, but simply responded in kind when others brought fights their way. The stories were like something out of an after-school special. There were tales of them taking down gangs who sold drugs to kids, or breaking into yakuza front offices to save their friends. Detectives from juvenile affairs took these stories with a grain of salt, but if there really were young people like that out there, Kano hoped to meet them someday. The detectives had to hurry to catch up with the man they were tailing. He was still strolling along, seemingly in no particular hurry. They kept him in sight as he crossed another pedestrian overpass and circled back around. Still following the same MO, huh? Sasayama grumbled. Guess so, Kano said. How'd things go with the girl? He was careful not to take his eyes off the mark as they talked. You were right. She's not part of this. Just one of those street evangelists or something. Oh, yeah. She kept asking me, but are you really happy with your life? Wigging me out. I bailed out of there quick. So, Sasayama. Thinking the Achi case is going to get handed off again any moment now. Huh? Sasayama peered at the mark, who was scanning the plaza he'd just entered, apparently looking for someone. I take one side, you take the other, Kano suggested. Sasayama's eyes went wide. Say what now? That way we apprehend both perps involved with the handoff. Sasayama didn't reply. Look, HQ isn't thinking about the hostage's safety, Kano said. But that needs to take priority. Sasayama's face took on a rare solemnity. Disobeying a direct order is not something to do lightly. A detective's behavior is governed by the Local Public Service Act. Article 32 states that a detective is to faithfully follow the orders of his superior in the course of his duties. Violating this is punishable by a warning, reduction in pay, suspension from duty, or dismissal. In the event of a warning, not only is the individual expected to submit a formal letter of apology, but pay raises may be delayed or performance bonuses cut. Then after a moment he added, "But I'm on board. I'm sick of all this wandering around anyway." "That's the Sasayama I know," Kano replied with a chuckle. Sasayama gave him a silent thumbs up. The two detectives took up position on opposite sides of the plaza. Kano called up Sasayama on his cell phone. "You ready?" he asked. "Just give the word." There were only two non-Japanese people in the nearby crowd. Both were eyeing their surroundings anxiously. Kano was certain the handoff was about to take place. And then, well, if it isn't Mr. Toyama. Kano's ears perked up at the sign of an aggressive greeting, the voice dripping with a feigned cheer. He rolled around to see two rough-looking young men confronting a father and his daughter. The older men looked pained. "Please, just hold on," he said placidly. "Fuck off, I can't read. I can't read. I'm in fucking college, but I can't read." "I thought we agreed on 4 o'clock, the young man snarled. "Don't you try and play dumb with us, buddy." "It's nothing like that, I swear. My girl was just hungry, so I just stepped out to..." "Yeah? How come you didn't just order delivery, huh?" "Oh, yes, right. I suppose that would work too." "Ha ha. Don't you me, man." Kano watched the argument uneasily. The stranger's altercation put him in a bit of a spot. The crook he was telling probably wouldn't risk handing off a case with an uproar like this going on. "What's going on over there?" Sasayama asked. "Not sure," Kano replied. "Looks like some kind of argument. The suspects are going to get wary on us. It's going to screw up the whole handoff." "Yeah, I know." "So do something about it and get over here," Sasayama said. "What?" "Find some way to shut them up and then get over here." "Oh, sure, alright." Kano headed toward the argument. He was only halfway there when Sasayama called again. He sounded panicked. "Hey, Kano! He made a run for it!" "Huh? Ah, crap!" The man they'd both been tailing had vanished in a brief time. Kano had taken his eyes off him. "Wait up!" Kano shouted. Sasayama was racing after the suspect, and Kano rushed to join him. The man was surprisingly quick, however, and neither detective managed to catch up. In fact, they soon lost sight of him amidst the teeming crowds. Frantically, they dashed through the streets as fast and as hard as they could. "We lost him," Sasayama admitted at last. "Damn it!" He stamped his foot on the asphalt in disgust. "Director Kuze," Kano gasped over the wireless. "I'm sorry, but we lost the man with the Achi case." There was a heavy sigh on the other end of the line. Kano braced himself. He wasn't going to be able to weasel out of this one with just an "I'll do better next time." "Sasayama, Kano, get your asses back to the precinct." Kuze out. With that, Kuze switched off the line. Back to the precinct. Kano knew full well what that meant. They were off the case. There was a gnawing in his gut. If those two punks hadn't shown up, no, that father and his daughter hadn't turned up, he might have been able to apprehend the suspect. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Don't let it get you down, Sasayama said. I mean, paper pushing can be kind of fun. The look on his face, however, suggested that he didn't think it was fun at all. Not one bit. The air of two men heading to an execution, Kano and Sasayama trudged back toward the Shibuya precinct. Back to the precinct. Kano was taken off the case because he lost track of the suspect, thanks to a random altercation nearby, and his glum conclusion was correct. If the father/daughter duo hadn't shown up, this wouldn't have happened. A certain someone needs to give those two some better advice, and a certain other someone needs to meet up with them outside his or her house. Both of those are key to changing poor Kano's fate.
Okay. Well, I know that... No. Ah.
Advice for Toriyama. There it is. Head back to your office ASAP. The office? But they'll find me there, for sure. Toriyama's face was a little more than a pathetic whimper. It's a little bit of reverse psychology. The last place the debt collector is going to think you went, it's back to the office, right? Ah, I see, Toriyama said. He sounded impressed by the suggestion. For now, just stay hidden until I can get these articles finished. All right, Toriyama said weakly. He hung up. He turned back to his laptop. All right. So, I need to do something else in someone else's story too, though. Because that's still a bad end. Pincer attack. Alright, so I need to go with someone else. I think I'm gonna go with Achi. I think I'm gonna leave Osawa last. Osawa is really interesting. I kinda wanna leave it for last at the moment. So let's go to Achi. Running through Center Guy. Achi and Hitomi scampered through the back roads along Center Guy, white sneakers and pumps slapping on the pavement. Achi kept his eyes peeled, continually checking ahead and behind as they darted through the gaps between the buildings. Finally, they stopped in a narrow alley. There's no way he'll find us here, he said. No one knows about this place. He took another look around and let out a sigh of relief. It seems they managed to shake the gunman for now. Back when Achi was with SOS, he had come through Sentagai practically every day. The abbreviation for Studs of Shibuya, the name given to a group by Achi when he founded it. Originally just a bunch of like-minded people hanging out together, it was since become known as a gang that picks fights around Shibuya. The gang had started out as little more than a group of local teens. They didn't do much in particular, just horsing around and killing time. What mattered was that they were having fun. But it wasn't long before it wasn't all fun and games. Achi couldn't help but notice the slobs who were making a mess of Shibuya, dirtying it all up. He wasn't about to let him get away with it. Most frequently, it was folks who tossed cigarette butts out on the street or plastered walls and graffiti. When they didn't respond to his more gentle warnings, he found slightly more forceful ways of getting his point across. SOS got a reputation. Street punks started trying to pick fights with its members. Those guys required a bit more force to handle. But when it came to the worst of the lot, the drug dealers, the muggers, the guys who tried to force themselves onto women, it was full-on battle, no holds barred. Before long, SOS had established itself as something of a vigilante corps. Soon, it became known as one of the biggest gangs in Shibuya. Let's lay low here for a bit and see what happens, Achi said. The alleys where they hid was like a dimly lit chasm, obscuring them from view. The only problem now was figuring out what to do next. They needed to find that blue van again, which meant figuring out the best way to get back to Dogenzaka without the man with the cane watching them once more. Achi? Hitomi whispered. I think I can handle myself from here. She got on her feet and gave Achi a deep bow. Whoa, Achi held up a hand. We've been over this already. You're not going to be okay with Kay. That guy has a gun. If he let her go up against the assassin alone, he might as well be the one to pull the trigger himself. Thank you so much for everything you have done for me, Hitomi continued as if she hadn't heard him. She started to shuffle out of the alleyway. Hey, what did I just say? Really, Achi, I appreciate your concern, but I can't in good conscience put you in danger anymore. But, I mean... Achi tried to press the point, but Hitomi cut him off. There's no good reason for you to risk yourself to keep helping me. Her tone was resolute. This has to be bad. Achi knew she had a point. He decided to back off. Just then, a bit of light shone into the alleyway from above. It looked like someone on the adjacent building's upper floor had turned on the light. Building! The Nokane building. This multi-tenant building has 7 floors, but a decade-old urban legend tells of a mysterious 13th floor. A diet and sales demo is being held on one of the upper floors today. The lights illuminated Hitomi's face, and Achi saw the look in her eyes. He reconsidered his decision. She was trying her hardest to hide it, but she was clearly terrified. No way he was letting her go back out there alone. Still, if he tried to insist, she would only refuse him again. Hitomi, humor me for a second here. Tell me, what's the proper way of disposing of a plastic bottle? She stared at him in surprise. Well, first you remove the cap and the wrapper, then you rinse out the inside and crush it. Achi let out a breath he'd been holding. Okay, good. Huh? I don't understand what's good. You gave me my reason why I have to help you out. I super respect people who respect the environment. I'm one of those whatchamacallit, an environmentalist. Achi pointed at his mean, clean t-shirt. Tomi hesitated. And what was your plan if I'd answer was to toss the plastic in with the trash? Well, then I need to stick with you to help teach you. Environmental awareness begins with good education. So then you were going to tag along with me regardless? Look, I'm just super pumped to learn that you care so much about proper recycling. Achi cracked a huge grin. Okay then. Okay. If you're really that sure about it, I guess I could use your help a little while longer. Hitomi flashed him a little smile. Man, she's so cute, Achi thought. Sneaking out from the alley, Achi and Hitomi began to make their way along the side streets back toward Dogonzaka. It was a pretty big detour compared to taking the main thoroughfares, but that would be worth it if it meant to avoid the man with the cane. Achi looked over at Hitomi as she walked alongside him. Her face was solemn. He could feel the intensity of her worry for her sister. Oh, well, well, well. Look who's got himself a little cutie. The sudden call startled him. He spun around. Yo, mean clean. Over here. Achi spotted a young man up ahead, sneering at him. At his side were 2 others. Achi recognized the lot. SOS. Hitomi let out a nervous squeak. Achi, don't worry about them. He led her onward, attempting to stride right past the trio. Whoa, hey now. You just gonna ignore me? That's pretty damn rude, especially coming from someone who used to be an old buddy. The 3 toughs moved to bar Achi's path. Oh, she is hella fine. Come on, ain't you gonna introduce us? Extremely attractive. The etymology of hella is somewhat unclear, but its meaning is undisputed, very, a lot of, totally, and the like. Potential synonyms for hella fine include mighty fine, fine as hell, and bangin'. Sorry, man, Achi said. I'm in a bit of a hurry. He gave them a tepid smile. Big hurry, huh? Where to? Some love hotel in Maru Yamacho? Maru Yamacho? Too rich, another chimed in. She a screamer, Achi? Achi! Take a stereotypical way to poke fun at a would-be amorous couple. Now take Achi's name. There you go. They burst out howling like a gang of monkeys. One of them cackled like a grinning idiot. Achi! Achi! Why do they keep going? Achi felt his anger boil. Let's go. These guys were in sore need of a major ass kicking. Achi stepped up to the ringleader. Bitch! The tough dropped to the ground with a dull thud. Oh, sorry. That was terribly rude of me. Achi kept his tone light and jovial, but he eyed the others like a hawk eyeing his prey. Is he going to be alright? Hitomi murmured. She looked at the man Achi had laid out with some concern. Yeah, he'll be fine. If that's all it took to knock him out, he's got no right to act all badass. Achi, huh? I don't believe I've had the pleasure. A taller man with an angry gleam in his eyes had appeared atop the steps nearby. He must have turned up during the commotion. He radiated a distinct aura of menace. That's me, Achi replied. Just who are you? For once, it was someone he didn't recognize. The name's Yoji Kiryu. Used to roll with a gang from Ikebukuro until a few months ago, known as the Killer Whale of Bukuro. He answered any and all resistance with his fists. His crazy antics led him to being kicked out of the gang, however, and lately he's been hanging around Shibuya. I joined up with SOS after you left. Now I'm Susumu's number 2 guy. The newcomer stared at Achi's face, sizing him up. A legendary founder. I've heard so much about you. The founder. It had been a long time since anyone had called him that. There had been a bunch of arguing over who would take charge of the new group that was forming, to set things straight in Shibuya. At some point, folks had started hailing him as the force behind SOS. But founder, that was just something his buddies called him. He had never paid it much heed. Shibuya was a place for fun, not hierarchies. At least in Achi's mind, that's how it ought to be. Like how you busted up some mean old drug dealers, risking your pounds with the Yakuza bondage. Here, bondage is used strictly in the sense of captivity. Any other types of Yakuza bondage will not be featured in this game. Sorry if the tip link here got your hopes up. You're a real hero. Kiryu's tongue flicked from his mouth like a snake's. Hitomi shuddered. Achi couldn't blame her for being creeped out. But that's all in the past now, isn't it? Kiryu continued. Kiryu, you went modestly on your own. It's up to us now. And we've helped SOS grow by leaps and bounds to help carry on your legacy, no matter who stands in our way. The thought didn't sit right with Achi. If aggressive expansion was the name of the game, the gang was losing touch with its roots. It wasn't about keeping Shibuya safe and fun anymore. Make SOS bigger, huh? He said. I'm guessing that was Susumu's call as well? Kiryu didn't answer his question. His mouth merely twisted into a knowing sneer. In any event, I think these boys were needing a little lesson in manners. The guillotine ought to do the trick. A capital punishment device invented in the 18th century France. The condemned is executed by decapitation by means of a heavy blade that descends from above, named for physician Joseph Ignace Guillotin, who advocated its use to the National Assembly. Both King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette were executed by guillotine. The other gang members started an alarm. Whoa, hey, just calm down, man. Please, anything guillotine. Kiryu pointedly ignored their pleas. Well, hey, what's the guillotine? Achi asked. Kiryu smirked. The guillotine is the guillotine. With me, worms. Without a glance back, Kiryu strolled away. His 2 underlings followed him unhappily. Achi wondered what lay in store for them, but right now he had more important things to worry about. Come on, let's go. He took Hitomi by the hand, and they were back on their way. Oh, Hitomi poked up. That's me! She reached into her pocket and took out her cell phone. Huh? She stared at the screen with consternation. What is it? Achi asked. It's an email from Mr. Tanaka. Who's Mr. Tanaka? He works with my father. I'm not sure what I should do. Achi remembered that the criminal had warned her against contacting her family or the police. She seemed reluctant to even open this message. I'm sure it's fine to just read an email, he said. And besides, it's not the police, and he's not your family. Yeah, you're right. Hitomi scanned the message anxiously. It sounds like he's worried about me, she said. Then does he know about the kidnapping? Yes, I know my father trusts him. And he's always been so. Hitomi cut herself short. Still, it was clear to Achi that she and this Tanaka person had some sort of close relationship. I wonder if it's safe for me to let him know about what the situation is. I think it should be, Achi told her. I mean, the kidnappers aren't going to know you sent an email, right? Hitomi began typing out a response. Achi watched over her, wild speculations running through his mind. There was no way a mild-mannered young woman like her would be dating one of her father's co-workers, was there? Unless she was all about finding herself a sugar daddy. No, he was being ridiculous. Achi banished the thought from his mind. Besides, Hitomi's personal life wasn't the problem right now. The problem was that psycho with the cane and the gun. Is something wrong? Hitomi asked. She finished sending her email. Oh no, nothing. Nothing at all. Achi did his best to look nonchalant. It was a good thing she couldn't read his mind.
They exited Center Gai and resumed their approach toward Tokanzaka by the way of Maruyamacho. There are many hotels in Maruyamacho, but though these are not ordinary establishments, but rather the sort of hotels where two people who were so inclined might rotact. A couple headed to these kinds of places in the early afternoon would, without a doubt, be assumed to be bent on rotact. You might be wondering whether an option for these two to get up to mischief will appear as a selection prompt. Well, don't get your hopes up. This isn't that kind of game. Don't worry, I know the sites for that game. Another long detour to increase their odds of running into the gunman. They made an unlikely pair. Scruffy Achi, limbs lackadaisically swinging to hide his embarrassment, and brisk, purposeful Hitomi. Achi found himself watching her out of the corner of his eye. He could still feel her anxiety. He wished there was some way he could ease her fears. Hey, Hitomi, mind if I ask you something? Sure, go ahead. Okay, so I realize this might be kind of a weird question, but you put on a serious face. What does the eco-friendly mean? Huh? I know it's about helping the earth and all, but I don't know what it really means, you know? Hitomi thought for a moment. I'm pretty sure it's short for the English word ecology, which is the science of examining the relationship between man and nature. A subset of biology that deals with the reciprocal relationship between organisms and their environment. Nowadays, the terms can also refer to cultural and social effects on the global environment. The latter usage can be broad and imprecise, making the exact meaning somewhat difficult to define. Oh right, science! Pleased with himself, Achi chattered on excitedly. A faint smile crept back on Hitomi's face. Say, you ever hear about the clear river here in Shibuya? Oh, clean river. A clean river? In Shibuya? Really? Ask 100 youngsters outside of Shibuya Station the same question, and you'd probably get that same answer 100 times. Yeah, Shibuya River. You know, that drainage channel we saw earlier. Wait, what? That's the clean river you're talking about? By no reasonable definition would this be a river what anyone would call clean. That's the one, Achi grinned at her confusion. See, the river used to be clean a long time ago. I read about it in an old book called Science Strikes Back. A popular monthly magazine, abbreviated SSB, Super Smash Bros. Fuck off. Okay. The series has been running for 29 years now, but the Strike Back appendix is still immensely popular with children. The women who handle the home deliveries is known as the Super Smash Bros. Lady. And children wait excitedly on the 25th of every month for her to make her rounds. I used to have that book, Hitomi chirped, her eyes wide with excitement. You're talking about that bit with the river that got turned into a song, right? The famous 1912 song, Haru no Ogawa, The Spring Brook, with lyrics by Tatsuyuki Takano and music by Taichi Okano. It is said that the song was inspired by the view of the upper course of the Shibuya River during Takano's childhood. In the modern day, there's a stone monument bearing the song's lyrics along the Odakyu line between Yoyogi Hachiman and Sangubashi. Fuck. Yeah, that's the one. Read it too? I did. Achi felt a giddy rush as this unexpected connection they shared. Imagine if there was still a clean, beautiful river here in Shibuya. It'd be the perfect place for taking a romantic stroll. Hitomi looked up at Achi. She seemed to share his joy in this idea. Wouldn't it be amazing, Achi said, if that dirty little channel could be clean like it used to be? It would. Maybe as amazing as the look on Hitomi's face right now, Achi thought. Hitomi, tell me some more about ecology stuff. Hit me with whatever you got. She seemed happy to oblige, and so they walked along. Hitomi explained the bits of knowledge she picked up over the years. Achi was quiet, hanging on her every word. The return to Dogenzaka became an impromptu environmentalism lecture. Hitomi continued until she'd exhausted her ready knowledge. I just don't get it, Achi grumbled when she paused at last. I mean, why is it a bad thing if the planet gets warmer? Wouldn't that make winter in places like Hokkaido way easier? No, you see, because if the whole planet gets warmer, it'll cause the whole ecosystem to collapse. Achi racked his brain. And the ecosystem is what again? Is that like a solar system? Images of the cosmos filled his imagination. No, not really, Hitomi said. So it's more like a sound system then. Not really. Oh, but anyway, you're saying the problem is with the, what was it again? Carbon dioxide. Yeah, that stuff. I'm gonna have to cut down on that. Sure. That settles it, Achi declared proudly. No more soda for me. Soda? Hitomi asked. Yeah, it's carbonated, right? Hitomi burst out laughing. What? I'm serious. You don't think I can do it? I'm sorry, Hitomi said, catching her breath. It's just... Her face froze, her mirth abruptly vanishing. Oh no. Huh? Achi stared at her face in alarm. What is it? What the fuck? He turned his attention in the direction Hitomi was looking. The man with the cane was bearing down on them. Ah, come on, you've got to be kidding me! He grabbed Hitomi's hand and ran. This time he headed for the main road, hoping to get lost in the crowd. Hitomi struggled to keep up. She was exhausted after all their earlier running. You can do it, he told her. The guy's got a cane. We can outrun him. The assassin was still hurrying behind them. Once we get around the next corner, we'll be out of the main road. Out on the main road. Yeah, okay. She strained to get the words out. Bit by bit, her feet were slowing down. It was another 50 meters or so to the main road. Achi realized that they might get caught before they get there. Sorry, Hitomi, he exclaimed, but I gotta do this. He scooped her up in his arms. Eep! By the time the squeak had escaped her mouth, Achi was already running full out. Achi? Please put me down. Don't worry, you're super light. Achi glanced back and saw the assassin now far behind break off his pursuit. But just as they rounded the corner, he heard the man call out to him. Achi almost stopped on reflex. Hold on, did he just shout my name? How the heck does he know my name? Quaking with unease, Achi slipped into the crowd. Achi, could you please sit me down now? A meek voice pulled him from his panic. Huh? He looked down at the girl in his arms. People in the crowd all around them were watching and chuckling. I mean, I'm really happy you saved me and all.
But being carried around like this is, Hitomi was blushing beet red, but Achi's expression had gone pale.
Achi, wait!
Had he really heard that right? That's what it sounded like. He set Hitomi back on her feet, then used his shirt sleeve to wipe the sweat from his face. You okay? Hitomi asked. When we were running just now, did that guy say anything? Not that I heard, no. Huh. I just imagined it then? Maybe. Achi was sure he didn't recognize the man. There was something weird about that guy, though, Hitomi wondered. She furrowed her brow. No matter where we run, he keeps catching up to us. It's almost like he knows where we're going. She was right. Fighting a particular pair of people in a place as big as Shibuya bordered on the impossible. And yet somehow the assassin had tracked them down several times now. Yeah, Achi said. It's like he's got some way of locating us or something. He got a sudden idea. That's it. What if they're doing the whole tracking thing, but like backwards? What? Hitomi's eyes widened. Okay, so like, you know how in the police shows they always take a tracking device in the bag with the ransom money? Kind of like that, but backwards. Okay, so backwards isn't the right way to describe this, but Achi doesn't realize that. He does seem to know what a tracking device is, at least, a radio transmitter that can be located by the signal it emits. The Japanese police sometimes refer to this as a beeper, not to be confused with the English slang term beeper, meaning a pager. Backwards? Yeah, like, instead of putting the tracker on the money, they put it on you. Hitomi frowned. I don't see how I could possibly have a tracker on me, she said. I mean, I'm just wearing my clothes from home. Oh, huh. Well, then how is he doing it then? Barely a moment passed from the moment he got the words out of his mouth. Once again, the man with the cane stepped out on the road ahead of them. It really did seem as if he'd known exactly where they were going to be. How the hell is this happening? Achi groaned. He reached for Hitomi's wrist, ready to pick her up again. It's okay, I can run by myself. Achi took her by the hand instead, and they raced into another alley. This guy just will not give up. At the far end of the alley, he could see a forklift parked inside of a pile of cardboard boxes. Beside a pile, not inside. Achi decided to throw the boxes to the pursuers, hop into the forklift, and drive it at the assassin. Let's do it! It's in now! Achi leapt in the forklift and hit the ignition. The engine roared to life. He lowered the forks and stepped on the accelerator, picking up the platelet of cardboard boxes as he charged toward the man with the cane. The tower boxes struck the man with a thud. Achi kept accelerating, driving him back a good 10 meters or so. I almost said miles, Jesus. The gunman let out a low grunt at the impact. Achi then hit the brake, shifted back into reverse, and hit the gas again, backing up as fast as he could. Boxes crashed down in a heap, burying the assassin underneath. Several small bottles spilled from the broken cardboard and shattered on the pavement. Hey, what the hell are you doing? A middle-aged man in a sanitation uniform had come running from the sound of the forklift. Sorry, man. Gotta run, Achi exclaimed as he jumped from the vehicle. And don't forget to recycle that glass! Took Hitomi's hand and sprinted away down the alleyway. The sanitation worker glowered at him, then turned and gazed despondently at the jumbled pile of boxes and broken glass. Did we break burning hammer boxes? Their ragged breathing echoed across the maze of side streets. All that work just to wind up fleeing for their lives again. Achi ground his teeth in frustration. There are two types of teeth grinding. The subconscious act of gritting one's teeth together while asleep, and two, the gritting one's teeth as a response to anger or frustration. Here we have an example of two. At roughly the same time, Minoru Kawa is grinding his teeth while trying to keep to his schedule. Hitomi, he groaned when they slowed down to catch his breath. At last, I'm so sorry. Hitomi was nonplussed. Sorry? Whatever for? I keep saying how I'm going to help you, but instead I just keep putting you in danger. Achi, no. If you hadn't been with me, I'm sure I'd already be dead. No, Achi hurried to cut her off before she could finish. Don't go there. Please. He sighed, then spoke again more quietly. I just want to help you. Clenching a fist, he looked up at the sky. A tiny sliver of blue was visible through the narrow gap between the buildings. Itomi hung her head. Honestly, I can hardly believe how much you've done for me. I do appreciate it, but still. The lengths you've gone to. Achi looked at his feet, then drew himself up. Well, I admit it's not just because of some gut instinct, or your love for the environment, he said. There's another reason I'm doing this. There is? Achi paused, searching for the right words. Got a little sister. Her name is Suzune. She's cute and smart, kind of the exact opposite of me, you know? His voice took on an uncharacteristic solemnity. But she's got a weak heart. She's in the hospital. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But what does that have to do with wanting to help me? Back when Suzune was first admitted, I'd go and visit her every day. But she... Achi, you don't need to come visit me every day, you know. Quiet hospital had made Suzune's voice sound all the more frail. What are you talking about? Achi said. You know I'm worried about you. I'll be fine on my own. Really? Achi had heard that line before. The more she insisted she was fine, though, the more reluctant he was to leave her. Besides, aren't you the amazing guy who helps hold Shibuya together? They need you out there. Achi didn't know how to respond to that. Much as it was flattering to think he played some important role, he was really just hanging out and goofing off with his pals. It certainly wasn't anything for his sister to be proud of. I'd rather you spent your energy helping people who need it more than me. What do you mean, people who need it more? Who could possibly need more help right now, more than you? Achi scratched his head in confusion, and his sister gave him a weak, tiny smile. You'll figure it out, she said. I'm sure they'll find you soon enough. But I'm going to be here with you. I'll be fine. Suzune's face was pale, but her tone was firm. My big brother is going to be out there doing his best to help people. That's what makes me happy. That's what keeps me going. Her voice was clear and unwavering, as if to head off his rebuttal. All right, Achi said with a reluctant sigh. So then, I guess, I'll just go out there and help people who are in trouble. Satisfied, Suzune smiled. Thank you. And can you promise me one more thing? Of course. Anything you like. He thumped himself on the chest. If you're going to help someone, make sure you see it all the way through to the end. Okay? Okay. No calling it quits part way through, yeah? You got it. I just worry, Suzune said. I know you have a tendency to lose interest in things. Look, don't sweat it. I swear I won't give up on this. Achi stuck out his pinky finger. But I want you to promise me something in return. Promise me you won't let this thing beat you. Suzune hooked her little finger around her brother's. Her sad smile fragile as glass. So there you have it, Achi said. Kind of a rubbish story, I know. Not very funny. So your sister's heart condition. It's pretty bad? Achi nodded. You know, she called me amazing. There's nothing amazing about me. Suzune, she's the amazing one. She's been in the hospital so long, in so much pain, but she never complains. All I do is hang out and goof off with my friends. He gave a shrug. I just kept thinking about how happy she'd be if I really did help people. It had turned out that finding people in need hadn't been all that simple. The only helpful thing Achi had been able to think of was going around picking up trash. And that's why Suzune's idiot brother left SOS to be Shibuya's garbage man. Did your friends know? Hitomi asked. About your sister? I didn't tell them. I didn't want to pin this all on her being sick. Ah, I see. At last now Hitomi understood about what the fight with the local toughs had been about. The sound of approaching footsteps jerked them back into the present. Come on, man. The man with the cane approached at the end of the alley. He raised his gun. There was no time to flee. Achi quickly stepped in front of Hitomi. If you shoot us here, people are going to come running, he said. I'm guessing you don't want to get pegged for murder. The assassin didn't flinch. Stay out of my way, Achi. This time, there was no doubt. The gunman had spoken Achi's name loud and clear. How do you know who I am? The man stared at him through the sight of his gun. She has to die, Achi. It's for your own good. What does that mean? Hitomi whispered. Achi, what is he talking about? Achi's mind was a whirl. Things were coming to him too fast for him to process. I don't know this guy. Hitomi, please. You have to believe me. But... Hitomi took a doubtful step away from Achi. The assassin didn't miss his opening. He quickly aimed at her. Cut the crap, man! What do you mean killing her is for my own good? Once she's dead, you'll understand. The gunman's finger tightened on the trigger. To be continued? Yep. Was there, like, no fail states? There was a lot of jump points in his story, but it didn't look like there was, like, any fail states. I feel like Achi is more of a hero here than literally anybody in the cast. So many jump points. There's 3 jump, ain't there? Yeah. Holy shit. Okay. So let's be really firm, just to see if it scares her off, or something like that. Achi was determined to help anyway. He refused to back down. Still, Achi was determined, refused to back down. Look, I want to help people who are in trouble. What's so wrong about that? Huh? Locked eyes with Hitomi, willing her to understand. I'm not the most dependable guy. I know that. But still, Hitomi dropped her gaze, and Achi trailed off, feeling like an idiot. Oh, it's no use. I'm no use. He hung his head with a sigh. With a light shining in the alleyway above. Okay. SOS screwing around. Okay, wait, actually. Nope, he still has a bad end. Okay. Had to make sure. It's too much at stake. He was just going to have to suck it up and ignore them for the time being. Gritting his teeth, he tried to slip past them, but the largest of the 3 grabbed him by the collar. You ran out, man. Susumu's the one who runs this town now. You got no right to keep acting like you're the boss of us. He shoved Achi against the wall. Says who? Achi said. Susumu? Says what now? Did Susumu say I've got no right to act like the boss? Bitch, please! Susumu ain't got time to worry about your sorry ass. Is that so? Achi's fist flashed out, catching the man clean in the jaw. He dropped to the ground with a dull thud. So tell Susumu this. Everyone in Shibuya needs to just play nice and have fun. Achi kept his tone light and jovial, but he played like a hawk. Okay. Bad end still. Alright. So now let's not get in the forklift. Throw the boxes at their pursuer. Oh, whoops. Ugh! Snatched one of the nearest boxes, turned and threw it at the man with the cane. The box was filled with something heavy.
This ought to do some damage. He watched with satisfaction as struck these fashioned in the face, but the man staggered sideways. Here, have another! One by one, Achi hurled every box in the pile. And one for the road! The last box wasn't properly sealed. It broke open and struck their pursuers, sending several bottles flying. They shouted as they crashed on the street, splashing red liquid. That has to be a fuck. Yeah! Is it? I'm pretty sure it is. I can't see the tiny thing, but I'm pretty sure that's just fucking bottles of burning hammer. The assassin dropped to one knee, scrubbing at his face with his hand. Achi looked on in surprise. Couldn't possibly hit that guy that hard. Peering at the man more closely, he saw that he was splattered in red liquid. Apparently the stuff in the bottle had gone in his eyes. Now's our chance! Achi took forth with Toby, leaving their pursuer dealing in the alley.
Through the maze of side streets, just wind up fleeing for their lives again. Yep. Okay. So yeah. So his story was just straight up just a line. There was no detours really. So before I go through any of these jump points, I'm going to take on Osawa. 2 years ago with Maria. The rain won't let up. No matter how much time passes, it just won't stop. Ever since that day, the sound of raindrops has been burned into my mind. Such an awful, heart-rending sound driving me to strip my life down to shadows. And yet, no matter what else I abandon, nothing will make the sound of the rain stop. I think all this talking is really fucking with my throat. King Solomon's Pillars. Osawa stared at the postcard that was nestled into the final page of the photo album. He purchased it 2 years ago while on a trip with Maria to the Middle East. Originally used to indicate Iran, Afghanistan, and the region surrounding them, in modern times the term refers to part of southwestern Asia, including India and Afghanistan, and the section of northeast Africa along the Mediterranean coast. However, in Japan as well as the US, the term Middle East is often understood to refer specifically to those parts of the region with a strong Islamic influence. He'd mentioned that he was being sent there on business, and Maria had just blurted out, "I want to go with you!" She'd recently developed an interest in the Middle East conflict, and apparently she had been yearning to see the area firsthand. The ongoing friction in the Palestine area between the Jewish people who founded the nation of Israel and the Arabs who had been living there previously. The religious and historical context of this cultural clash is well beyond the scope of what can be elucidated here. No fucking shit. His daughter's newfound curiosity had taken him aback. She had always tended to be quiet and self-contained. The clumsy conversation aboard the plane, the meals eaten together in awkward silence, it all felt like such a distant memory to Osawa now. "Ma'am, I'm afraid I can't let you do that." He heard Kajiwara's voice outside the door. "Why ever not?" "I'm just going out for a bit." The detective was arguing with I. Great. And just who was it that told me I should try and go about my life as normal? Osawa's wife sneered. "Ma'am, please, How would you feel about being told to just sit around and wait?" Ai's angry shriek jerked Osawa to his feet. He hurried from the study to try and calm her down. Ma'am, please wait." But by the time Osawa had made his way downstairs, his wife had already stormed outside, despite Kajiwara's attempts to stop her. Osawa doubted anything could have said would stop Ai from leaving. Trying to physically keep her from going out would only have made for an even worse uproar. He was glad that at least it hadn't come to that. He was turning to head back to the study when Kajiwara caught his eye. Resigned, he headed down the stairs and bowed to the detective. where she's going? Kajiwara asked. I mean, at a time like this? Osawa shook his head. I wouldn't know. I didn't think so. You know, your wife really is something else. Osawa arched an eyebrow. That's one way to describe her. A rather rude way, as a matter of fact. No offense intended. It's just that ever since this case started, you've both been holed up in your own respective rooms. The more Kajiwara spoke, the more irritated Osawa became. What's your point? He demanded. I just mean you haven't been having any, marital discourse. According to one survey, in roughly 6% of households, discourse between spouses is largely non-existent. Various reasons for this were offered by the couples in question. Many claimed that they were too tired to have the energy to talk, or stated we wind up fighting when we talk, or we have nothing to talk about. Mind your own business, Osawa snapped. Kajiwara dipped his head differentially. Fuck. The two of us not talking is a new thing anyhow, Osawa added. I have a policy of not having pointless conversations. It is quite common for Kenji Osawa to make it through an entire day without having a single conversation. On many days, he opens his mouth only to eat or brush his teeth. His current record is a streak of 14 consecutive days during which he didn't talk to anyone. Huh? Didn't look as though Kajiwara quite understood. Microorganisms such as viruses don't have conversations, and yet still they continually propagate in order to survive. Thinking about viruses, Osawa was back in familiar territory. He felt a surge of confidence. Once you have a clear purpose, conversation is unnecessary. And you have a clear purpose for the relationship with your wife, Mr. Osawa? Of course I do. To be a family. Arms crossed, Kajiwara struck a thoughtful pose. At least I've learned some things. At least one useful thing today, Mr. Osawa. Namely, that you don't like to have pointless conversations. It's a good thing to know. Kajiwara uncrossed his arms for a moment, then crossed them right back again, furrowing his brow. Let's see. That's funny. You seem to have a tendency to have pointless conversations with me, and because you keep talking to me. Osawa saw red. You don't leave me with much of a choice. Tanaka poked his head out the living room. Is something the matter? He asked. No. Osawa struggled to regain his calm. Perfect timing, actually. There's something I need to talk to you about. He turned back to Kajiwara. My apologies, Detective, but would you mind giving us some privacy? Kajiwara didn't move. Detective? Osawa gave the policeman a hard look and saw him crack a smile. Yes. What is it? Kajiwara said at last. Don't you play dumb with me. Give us some privacy. Is this a decision I shouldn't overhear here? Is this a discussion I shouldn't overhear? Actually, yes. It's work-related. There are business matters I prefer to keep confidential. Ah, I see. Reluctantly getting to his feet, Kajiwara slipped away into the living room. Tanaka, Osawa began. About those emails. He stopped abruptly. Kajiwara had reappeared in the living room door, staring right at them. What are you doing? Osawa demanded. Oh, should I not be watching? Osawa felt like he was about to burst a blood vessel. I mean, you never told me that I can watch. Because it should be obvious. The detective made a scolded puppy face, then closed the living room door. Osawa let out a heavy sigh. He'd never been an extrovert, but he didn't recall human interaction being quite this draining. Anyway, sir, Tanaka prompted. You were saying? Yes, about those emails. Something doesn't make sense. I don't understand how Mr. Makino was able to get the antiviral agent to anyone on the outside. Sharing an Okoshi Pharmaceuticals drug with external sources while it was still under development required the approval of an executive committee that included Osawa himself. There should have been no way the antiviral could be sent out without his knowledge. Tanaka hesitated a few moments before responding. Are you aware of the strife between the company president and the chairman? Osawa shook his head. He was a researcher through and through. Factional rivalries held no interest for him whatsoever. Makino effectively leads the chairman's team, and the antiviral agent is their pet project. Despite being the executive officer in charge of the project, however, Makino still needs the president's approval to, you know what, forget about that right now. What do we do about security? In theory, it was physically impossible to get the antiviral out of the lab without detection. Entry to the biohazard laboratory, where it was kept, required fingerprint authentication from both Osawa and Tanaka. Technology that allows an individual's identity to be verified by scanning the fingerprints. It is one element of biometrics, the measurement of physical characteristics to identify individuals. There are even devices that can identify people by checking the veins in the palm of their hands or the irises of their eyes. Without the two of them, nobody could get into the storage facility. Because a dangerous virus is also stored there, the lab where the antiviral is kept is protected by an ID checkpoint, as well as a sophisticated 3-tiered lock system that requires fingerprint authentication. Multiple security guards are also posted outside the laboratory entrance 24 hours a day, making it all but impossible for an unauthorized person to get into the secured storage area. Tanaka followed his drift. Ah, yes, I see what you mean. He inclined his head in thought as Osawa continued. Could anyone have overwritten... Let's check the entry logs. Could anyone have overwritten the fingerprint authentication program? Maybe whoever was behind the secret trials had reprogrammed the entry criteria while Osawa was overseas. That would allow them to gain access to the storage facility without Osawa being there. But that would only be possible if they had Tanaka's cooperation. Tanaka's eyes widened when Osawa shared his conjecture. Sir, he asked, you don't think I was a part of this, do you? Of course not. I was merely suggesting the possibility. The possibility is zero, Tanaka said. Making any changes to the system requires consent from the board, including your own personal approval, sir. Ah, yes, you're right, of course. I certainly didn't mean to imply anything, Osawa winced apologetically. The living room door opened with a soft creak. It was Kajiwara, and he looked stiff and pale. Something terrible has happened, he said. Visions of tragedy flooded Osawa's mind. Maria, is she? Kajiwara shook his head. No, it's not that. What is it then? Osawa asked, his voice trembling. Sir, I need you to stay calm. Osawa swallowed the lump in his throat. You see, the toilet's clogged. Plunger in hand, Osawa stabbed vigorously at the... What the fuck? The recalcitrant? What the fuck? What are these words? Thank God I'm not going into fucking writing. Toilet bowl. Vigorously at the toilet bowl, struggling to loosen the unseen blockage. Kajiwara was at his side, wiping up the floors with a rag. Okay, plunger. A cleaning utility implement consisting of a soft, hemispherical rubber suction cup attached to the end of a dowel. By pressing the cup over the opening of a drain that has been clogged, one can apply suction pressure to jostle the blockage free. Makes a variety of sounds when used, such as glup, glork, schluck, schlorp, schlop, and pop. How did this even happen? The detective groaned. Are you kidding me? I was hoping you could tell me that. The plunger sucked and schlorped at the porcelain basin. This was a first for Osawa. He never tried to unclog a toilet before in his life. Think of it as a blessing in disguise, Mr. Osawa. What the hell are you talking about? What about this constitutes a blessing? I just meant that at least this happened before you needed to, do your business. Without the slightest hint of guile in his face, Kajiwara picked up his bucket and headed for the sink back in the washing area. Grumbling to himself, Osawa pumped the plunger over and over again. This was almost funny. Almost ridiculous, in fact. His daughter had been kidnapped, and he was stuck unclogging a toilet. He was quite possibly caught up in a major corporate conspiracy, and here he was, unclogging a toilet. Tanaka poked his head into the bathroom. Did you fix it yet? If you need to urinate, then use the restroom on the second floor. That's alright, here's fine. Tanaka stepped in beside him and abruptly shut the bathroom door. Now the two men were crammed inside in the narrow laboratory. Hey, Osawa says, what the hell are you doing? Tanaka made eye contact with Osawa in the mirror. He spoke in a hushed voice. I've been waiting for a moment I could get you alone. What? Tanaka sidled around to face him, giving him an intense stare. Sir, could you please be quiet for a moment? Tanaka had tears in the corner of his eyes. This will only take a moment. Osawa could feel the warm breath of his deputy whispering against his cheek. Tanaka reached for something inside his coat. Do as you wish. Osawa closed his eyes. Are you sure you're ready for this? I'm not sure, but this is happening pretty fast, to be honest. I'm rather nervous. I understand, sir. I mean, now that I think of it, we do spend day in, day out in that lab together. I suppose this was bound to happen sooner or later. Sir, could you please open your eyes? I'd like you to look at this. You'll have to forgive me. This is all a bit sudden. Please, sir, take a look. No, I can't. It's just the two of us. It's probably going to shock you, I know, but please, just take a look. Is it really that shocking? Oh, yes, very. Please, open your eyes. Okay. No, I can't. Sir, trust me, this isn't easy for me either. Alright. Bracing himself, Osawa opened his eyes. Tanaka thrust out his cell phone. Here, take a look at this. Huh? Osawa blinked bewildered, then refocused on the phone. He could never have anticipated what he saw on the LCD screen. Keep out. Fucking game. I can't. Let me look at the other options real quick. There's probably a couple of bad endings, too. Tanaka followed his drift. Yes, I see what you mean. Okay. Let's check the entry logs for the storage section. Anyone who wanted to get inside had to present their ID card to the security guard on duty. It would be possible to check the computer logs to see if there had been any suspicious activity in the system. Tanaka shook his head. I already checked the logs, sir. There was no evidence of anything suspicious. You're welcome to check for yourself, though, if you're that worried. No, I believe you. Yet the fact that the antiviral had been used for clinical testing. Either Makino had taken it from the laboratory personally or someone working on his order had done so. But how? Was there really some way they could have bypassed lab security without anyone else knowing? Osawa didn't think how it would be possible. Okay. Just have to ask Makino in person. The fact was the antiviral had been used for clinical testing. Either Makino had taken it from the laboratory personally or someone working on his order had done so. But how? Was it really Yeah, okay. And then there's Tanaka whispering. Hey, come on! Knock it off! Osawa lifted the plunger like a weapon. Quiet! Tanaka chided again, taking out a cell phone. Here, take a look at this. Huh? Keep out. Okay. Alright, so all that's left is B. Look, if you want to talk, we can do it out there. Osawa shoved Tanaka out of the bathroom. Hey, hold on, wait! With Osawa still pushing against his back, Tanaka reached into his suit pocket and fished out his cell phone. Here, take a look at this. Yeah, okay. So that's it. So I am stuck with a bunch of keep outs and a bad end. Interesting. Alrighty. Well, we got one to be continued. Where are we at bad ends? I fucking know. Alright, so 16 was the last one there. We got married with 17, back to the precinct. 21, 22, 23. Okay, so I'm missing 19 and 20. That one could still have more. Not sure, though. Okay, so we did find at the very least the first one. It seems like Kano's is really easy to find, at the very least. So yeah. So anyway, thank you all for watching, especially if you got this far, because I am ending it here. We will finish up the block, the time block, probably next time. So yeah, thank you all. And stick around, because there's a lot more to come.